A warm welcome to everyone in this new year 2025. I wanted to offer my thoughts and perceptions about the changes to come in the new year. I feel that the overarching theme for the new year is truth because we are all inundated in a world of information. And up till now, we have, as individuals, depended upon authorities to filter through the information and let us know what's what and validate the facts that are coming in with some evidence to encourage trust, right? To allow us to feel like we can trust the truth as it's coming in. But the current situation is that there's too much information. No authority can know it all. And we have been for so long coming through this global trauma that I personally feel was caused by a lack of transparency and truth. So we're in a unique situation now where we find a new way to approach information as it comes in that includes both objective and subjective analysis. We don't give up on the authorities who've been reliable. They're also filtering through their consciousness. But what's coming up for us, it's the process of analyzing and synthesizing information both subjectively and objectively. So we've kind of got like 2 points of analysis on the information that comes through. And the second thing is that we're doing that both individually and collectively, because what we're discovering, and we've been discovering this, you guys, this has been going on for a couple of years, but I'm just watching the trends, right? And how the energy kind of transforms and moves and evolves and expands, and which areas are available now for maximum expansion. And part of that story is working in a subjective yet collective manner. And I feel like this skill, this shift in cultural functioning is what's coming up for us. This is like the big revelation of the coming year. In the coming year, we're going to learn what the virus taught us, right? This is how viruses work. That, right? That they're individuals, but they work as collectives, and they have this sort of common intent, and they're able to be very small and yet powerful at the same time. And I'm not really comparing us to viruses, but there are laws of nature that we understand now physiologically. We understand them viscerally in a way that we didn't before we went through a global trauma. But now we understand. And the focus of the understanding is the revealing of absolute truth, universal truth, the laws of nature, the will of the divine. This is what's revealing. It's everything else. All the facts and figures and material metrics are not as important as the truth that comes directly between the individual and divinity. This is the truth. This is where the lens is focusing. And it's focusing from both an individual and a collective level. And the information is analyzed and synthesized, both it's received, both subjectively and objectively. And this, I feel, is going to show up. It's going to manifest for us in 2025 in a way it's never manifested before at such a degree, in such a level, that it will create really tangible cultural change, that it will impact the future, the trajectory of the evolutionary flow of our world. It's big. It's going to be big. It's like a new technology that this facility is evolving for us as individuals and collectively. And it's going to be beautiful. And I'm so grateful. And even though I would say the whole process has been catalyzed through trauma, kind of a collective trauma that we've been through in the past years, the upshot or the result of it is going to be beautiful. And the most important part about it is deeper, more intimate coordination between us as individuals and God, the divine, the creator. And that opens infinite possibilities. That opens doors that we can't even imagine at this point. So the future is bright. Thank you for being with me for this video. I hope everyone has a beautiful 2025. Oh, and my husband said, why don't you end it with a healing? So, okay, let's do a healing. So I'm just going into healing space. Facilitating this process for everybody means deeper, but also more graceful purification of the heart. That's the instrument for the subjective understanding. Really, the instrument is the heart, because we're talking about the relationship. We're talking about relationship, and relationship is understood on the level of the heart. So there in the heart center, the feeling of purifying any darkness, the feeling of purifying blockages, misunderstandings, thought forms that grip or influence the mental and emotional bodies. These thought forms are being isolated and identified, and they are being resolved through the creation of life supporting thought forms that come directly through the relationship between you and the creator. Because God knows the shape and form that consciousness needs to take to create like a counter resonance to those thought forms that block the flow of deepest, clearest understanding of truth. And pretty much all of them at the mental and emotional level circulate around beliefs about oneself as insufficient, not good enough, incomplete. They fall into the ocean of forgetfulness. And there's a moment in that process where the heart almost feels like it's in a free fall or something. Because if you've had the scaffolding, you've had that scaffolding in there, oh, I'm just not good enough, and I need to try harder, and I never have enough time, I never get enough. All those thoughts are there, and they create some sense of stability. And so as they dissolve away, as they are replaced by the stability, the phenomenal support that each one of us has through the connection to the absolute, infinite, eternal, quality-less, unbounded source of creation, the creator of all. There's a moment of like, oh, where do I go? And I have nothing to hold on to. It's like a little trigger that triggers a fear response. And so that fear response is sitting deep in the cord of light. And it's like it's got tentacles that connect into the autonomic nervous system. So there, the autonomic nervous system is being brought into the fold, essentially. The light of God's grace, the light, that feeling of being in the lap of God, the light of heaven, that softness, that sweetness, rises from the source of creation, and it rises from a deeper level. Like those thought forms and all those tentacles, they're more at the mental emotional level of the mind, but deep down at the causal and astral level of the mind, the sweetness is an eternal feature of the relationship between yourself as an individual and the divine. It's also an eternal feature of the relationship between us as a collective and the divine. So we all feel it, and we each feel it from our own unique position, right? So each of us has like one facet of the picture of the depth and the profoundness, the amazingness of that relationship. The relationship is so incredible. It's so multifaceted. It's so big. It's just so big. It's so vast. that in a single human lifetime, can we even really know it completely? I don't know. But collectively, we pool our perception. We pool, each one of us has a little piece to contribute. Each heart has a little, I would say, position of love, a position of sweetness that it contributes. Oh, this is my position of softest love. And all those soft, soft loves come together and they create a great, massive comforter. We all snuggle down under the comforter. It's just, I'm using that as a metaphor, but it's happening at the causal level. There's that feeling of being in the lap of God, of being completely protected, completely caressed in the softness of a love that is immeasurable, unconditional, eternal. And that's the energy that replaces all of those tentacles, all of those thought forms, and it particularly comes to rest in the autonomic nervous system, which is the responder or the reactor to all those feelings. So the autonomic nervous system starts to flow with endorphins and serotonin, dopamine, all the good neurochemicals that reflect the highest truth, the real truth. It's like a marker. You know you're dealing with truth, real truth, when it's marked. The energy signature of the true relationship between ourselves and divinity. You can watch for that marker, follow it when it comes. Like, oh, yes, I recognize that sweet feeling. I'll move that way. It's leading me this way. I'll go. On the surface, the material metrics might not line up. In fact, in a lot of cases, I think they don't. But it's okay because the value of human experience is vastly beyond material comforts. The value of human experience is measured by the evolution of the heart. So may 2025 be a year of amazing heart development for everyone. And through the wisdom of our hearts, may we know the truth. And knowing that truth, may we move as a collective, as a community, as a culture, in a direction that uplifts the quality of life for everyone in the highest, in every area, including the material markers. All right, everyone. Thank you for being with me. This has been so much fun. Wishing everyone a beautiful 2025. Bye.